Hello gorgeous, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we'd have some fun and do a battle of the drugstore brands. I'm going to talk about two of my very favorite drugstore brands today, e.l.f. and Wet n Wild. I'm going to go through each category and I'm going to tell you which brand I prefer and why. So if that sounds like fun, just keep watching. In the primer category, who wins? Is it e.l.f.? Is it Wet n Wild? Honestly, it is neither. Neither has my favorite face primer formula. Right now, my favorite drugstore primer is the one from L'Oreal. So for today's video, I'm going to use an okay primer, and that is the Wet n Wild Glass Correct. This is a primer that's going to brighten the skin. It's got vitamin C in it. Very illuminating. In the category of eye primer, Wet n Wild or e.l.f.? I used to enjoy the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eye primer. e.l.f., do they have an eye primer? I'm not sure that they have an eyeshadow primer, at least none that I've heard of. So today I'm going to throw a little bit of my Wet n Wild Incognito concealer on my eyes. Let's move on to brows. And for brows, if I had to choose between e.l.f. or Wet n Wild, I would choose Wet n Wild. My mother loves the original e.l.f. brow pencil and uses it all of the time. I tried the slim brow pencil and I couldn't find a shade. I believe that their shade selection might be a little less, or I just got lucky because the Wet n Wild micro brow pencil is one of my go-to most purchased products from Wet n Wild. I use the shade Deep Brown, but for today, I actually have a new product that I'm gonna play with. Wet n Wild came out with this brow maximizer that I've been hearing good things about, so I thought I'd play with it. And when it comes to brow gels, for sure, e.l.f. wins. Their brow lift is amazing, hands down. So this brow maximizer, it is a powder and gel duo. I'm gonna try doing it the way that I normally do, which is gel first, and then I'll add the powder. I was watching another creator use this product and she spilled the powder everywhere. So I am very, very concerned and I want to be careful. This side says brow powder and down here it says brow gel. So I'm gonna go into the brow gel first. I have tried brow gels from Wet n Wild before and was not pleased. So I'm hoping that this is a different formula and I will like it because this product was very inexpensive. And it's just nice to have your gel and your filler type product in the same container. And so far, so good. My brows are up. I'm gonna go into foundation now. I believe that I would choose Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation or their Tinted Hydrator over an e.l.f. foundation. However, I have not tried the Satin Finish e.l.f. in a very long time, so I wanted to try that again today. The e.l.f. CC cream was a little bit too thick for me, and I think it was Morgan Turner was talking about how this was always such a wonderful foundation, and it's just been years, so I thought I'd pick it up because I think it's about $6. It's very inexpensive. I'm just gonna pump some on the back of my hand. It looks a little light. Oh. Use my Haley's Beauty brush. It does have a little bit of a scent. Too light. Hopefully bronzer will help. I will for sure pick up another shade of this. In the concealer category, I used to like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, but I have come to find that I like the Wet n Wild Incognito a little bit better. This one does not seem to dry out my under eyes as much as the e.l.f. did. And then the e.l.f. Camo, the Hydrating Camo, just didn't give enough coverage. Concealer is on. Let's move into cream bronzer. e.l.f.'s putty bronzer I was not a fan of. Wet n Wild has their cream stick bronzer and I am a fan. So I'm gonna choose Wet n Wild in the cream bronzer category. This one, I have multiple shades, but this one is in the shade Wears Walnut. I do like to put it on the back of my hand and then blend it in with a brush. We gotta do something about this extra pale face. I use a stippling brush and it just blends easily, lasts a long time. I like it. Much better. In the cream blush category, e.l.f. has their putty blushes, which I do like. I have 2 different shades. However, I still am going to hand it to the Wet n Wild. These mega sticks are wonderful. I have multiple shades in both brands, but this one, probably my favorite, is the one called Peach Bums, which is a alternative for the Charlotte Tilbury Pinkgasm cream blush. So I've just put it on the back of my hand, and now I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Putty Primer brush, and I'm just going to stipple this on. Healthy, natural glow, beautiful. In the powder category, for the face, I'm gonna give it to Wet n Wild. Their Bare Focus powder, their loose powder I love, but I don't have it right now. The Bare Focus powder I also enjoy. So I'm gonna use that for my face, but not under my eyes because it is a mattifying powder. I'm just gonna take my little puff and set my T-zone and a little bit on the edges, because I did use a pretty glowy primer. And then for under my eyes, I have this oldie but goodie. This is the e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder. It is $4. I have it in the sheer shade, and this one's a little more lightweight, so I prefer this one for under my eyes. That brow gel feels stiff, which if that's what you're into, you're gonna like it. I do like a stiff brow gel. So now I'm scared, but we're gonna go into this powder. I'm just unscrewing like this. I'm gonna shake off the excess. It's got a little brush here, and I'm just gonna go in. Shade did I get? Got the shade Neutral Brown, and I'm just not sure that's the right shade for me. Can't say I'm loving that, but it could be the fact that I got too light of a shade. I'm taking my Alter Ego brush and a little bit of concealer, and I'm gonna clean up the edges. This might be a to be continued situation because I really love the gel, and maybe the powder would be better if I got the right shade. What do you think of the lighter shade of brows? Let me know. When we talk about powder bronzer, I'm gonna give it to e.l.f. I've tried the Wet n Wild powder bronzer and I'm just not a fan. I like the good old e.l.f. Forever Sun-Kissed Primer Infused Bronzer. I like it a lot. I've had this one for a while. I've hit pan, and I'm just going to set that cream bronzer with a little bit of this. It is a nice neutral shade. It's not too cool. It's definitely not orange. The price is right. And for powder blush, I'm giving it to e.l.f. Wet n Wild, their powder blushes have not impressed me, but this quad from e.l.f., I reach into this constantly. You've got your 2 pinkier shades, your 2 peachier shades. There are some that have shimmer, some that do not. I just love it. I highly recommend this. This is one of my favorite products from e.l.f. I love this. I've traveled with it. I'm gonna go into this top shade right here, which does have a little bit of shimmer. And I'm just gonna tap over. I've used every one of these shades. Fantastic. For the eyes, I used to love Wet n Wild's eyeshadow formula. I do not anymore. I have a couple of their eyeshadow palettes in my stash that are okay, but push comes to shove, I'm gonna choose e.l.f. I like their little bite-sized quads. This one is in the variation I Love You a Latte, which happens to be a all matte palette. This is probably my favorite of all the e.l.f. bite-size quads. I'm going to put a quick look together using this, putting one of these as the transition, this is the outer edge, and this is the inner corner. I'm just going to fast forward you through this part. How easy is that? These shades are so blendable. I love this cream. It really shows up. It's just the perfect variation of shades for an easy neutral eye look. When it comes to eyeliners, I've tried the e.l.f. Satin Pencil Liner, and I've also tried the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof. And I'm gonna give it to Wet n Wild. I'm gonna put a little bit on the outside edge. I just find it's a little longer lasting, and the e.l.f. is the one that I have, at least, is a sharpen, and for eyes I do prefer a twist up. And for mascara, I have tried the e.l.f. Lash It Loud. I've tried, I believe, all of the e.l.f. mascaras, and I've also tried the Wet n Wild Big Papa. And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you're gonna know that it's the Wet n Wild Big Papa that is the winner. This is a brand new one that I just opened. I enjoy it very much. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple of coats on, and I'll be right back. I am back. Love what this mascara does for my eyelashes. You can build it up. It is a slightly larger wand, so you want to be careful going in. I did poke my eye. I just haven't had it in a while, so I'm not used to it. But I know this was the first time I've used it opening out of the package, and it's just gonna get better. So my only cheat for this video is I have one category where I have not loved e.l.f. or Wet n Wild, and that is for lip liner. And I have my Morphe Sweet Tea. So let me go ahead and throw this on, and then we'll jump into the lip category. For lipstick, I do enjoy Wet n Wild's liquid lipstick formula. One of my favorite pink lipsticks is the Rebel Rose from their liquid lip collection. But as far as bullet lipsticks, which is what I tend to be a little bit more into these days, I'm gonna give it to e.l.f. This new O Face satin lipstick has been a lovely addition. I don't love the way that it wears. It is one that I have to reapply so it doesn't stay on forever, but it is a nice formula. I love the luxe packaging. I love the velvet sort of style. If that type of thing makes you happy, then this is a nice lipstick. This is in the shade Drive. When it comes to gloss, I have had e.l.f. glosses that I thought were okay. I loved the mint melt glosses that e.l.f. had. They were a little on the sticky side, but that whole chocolate mint thing just had me. I've tried regular e.l.f. glosses that are okay. And then for Wet n Wild, I've never tried a regular Wet n Wild gloss. I tried, I believe, the Care Bears collection gloss, and it was okay. I tried the chocolate one that they had, and it was okay. But one of you suggested that I try their Mega Slicks lip gloss. So I did. I picked one up, and while this is not new to the market, it is new to me. This is in the shade Nude Mood. Doesn't seem to have a scent, and this is what it looks like on my hand. It's not bad. Doesn't feel sticky, which is a definite no-go for me. It's got a nice shine to it. I do prefer the bigger doe foot like my Maybelline Lifter Gloss, but what's nice is this is $3.99 as compared to the Lifter Gloss at $9.99. I may have a new favorite. I will keep you posted. Last category is setting spray. I have the e.l.f. matte setting spray downstairs in my bathroom. It is okay, but you know I love my Wet n Wild Fight Dirty. I love the scent. I love the way it makes my face or my skin look. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this on. I love the spritzer. Everything about this setting spray I like. So I'm gonna do a tally and see who won the drugstore battle. Wet n Wild is the winner with 8 selections as compared to 5 going to e.l.f. So now it is time for you to share your opinion. What are your favorite products from the brands? I would love to know in case I have not tried them. If you disagree with my choices, let me know. I am open to that discussion in the comment section. If this concept is interesting to you, if it sounds fun to you, if you'd like to see me do it with 2 other brands, let me know. I am up for the challenge. All of the products that I put on my face today, of course, will be linked in the description box below. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing before you leave. I would love to have you join me. I upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. If you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when I upload. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. This was fun. Have a great day.